Today on Rescue USA. Extreme weather leads to some extreme rescues.
Something came through the window and hit me in the back of the head and launched me and my son across the restaurant.
Summer camp counselors have to think quick to save a group of children.
All you could hear was upstairs is like the Coliseum roof getting ripped off.
And one of the worst wildfires in California history is set off.
I could see helicopters hovering with their loudspeakers and telling us, evacuate, evacuate.
That's what our first responders do. Everything they can to save you.
Just after 4 p.m. on July 19, 2018, a wedge tornado sliced through America's heartland. The deepest cut, Main Street, Marshalltown, Iowa. 22 people were injured, their town shredded, but their spirit is what helped them survive. And the young heroes that arose from the crisis came from the unlikeliest of places.
Marshalltown is a small, rural community of 27,000 people located about 50 miles northeast of Des Moines, in the heart of Iowa cornfields. Every summer, Marshalltown has a day camp called Summer Blast at the historic Coliseum.
When you drop your kid off somewhere, you don't always think you need somebody to take care of them, but you do.
Fortunately, Summer Blast is run by dedicated camp counselors Alyssa and Deshauna. But little did they know, what seemed like a typical summer day would change their lives forever.
It started out like any other normal day. Went to the library in the morning, had fun at the library, came and got ready to go to the pool. No big deal.
There's always a different day. You never know what you're gonna get yourself into, but it's so much fun.
But as kids played at the local gym and people in Marshalltown went about their daily lives, the atmosphere was preparing for a violent afternoon.
I walked out and I saw the skyline, and it did not look very good.
What Alyssa didn't know was that there were multiple tornadic storms marching through Iowa that day. A tornado is basically a rapidly rotating column of air which typically forms out of thunderstorms when warm, moist air collides with cool, dry air. The severity of tornadoes are measured on the enhanced Fujita scale from EF0 to EF5, the worst of which features winds beyond a devastating 200 miles per hour.
Sirens went off, then we had a couple of deputies, I think, were spotting it.
2 tornadoes were captured on video. Local news was showing them. The tornadoes were heading in the direction of Marshalltown.
When I looked up, I saw clouds I'd never seen. They were racing back and going in a circle.
With the tornado a few blocks away, camp counselor Alyssa quickly takes charge and ushers the kids to the safest place available, the basement of the Veteran Memorial Coliseum.
Even when I was down in the basement, I didn't realize what was gonna happen until Alyssa had ran down to like the top of the steps and she goes, "There's a tornado."
Just something in me decided I needed to tell them that we need to get down on our knees and cover our head. And right when they were done, the tornado hit.
When tornadoes tear through an area, their force can destroy almost anything.
All you could hear was upstairs is like the Coliseum roof getting ripped off.
And after the tornado took out the spire of the courthouse, the tornado was gone. But it left behind epic devastation. Some parts of Marshalltown suffered only minor damage, while others were devoured.
It was just amazing to me what I was seeing. I got to the courthouse and I realized the spire at the very top of the clock tower, it was gone.
It was very surreal knowing just it's coming right on top of you, right on top of downtown, which, you know, a lot of tornadoes hit towns, they hit the corners of them or the outsides and gets parts of them, but this one came right through town, right down Main Street.
As Alyssa moved all the children out of the damaged Coliseum, Rusty Mason was left wondering if his daughter Emerson had survived.
I hopped in my truck, headed for the Coliseum. I couldn't get there, so I parked 3 blocks away and just started running. As I got closer and closer, when you see the destruction, and you see the bricks,
But as Rusty made his way to the Coliseum, his distress turned to relief.
that's when I saw her, and as soon as she saw me, she started running towards me, and I just gave her a great big hug and didn't want to let go.
Seeing the parents embrace their kids was just something I'll never forget.
I think the Summer Blast staff will always be heroes to me. Because of them, I have her.
Weeks later, this tight-knit community has become even tighter, receiving overwhelming support from the entire state of Iowa.
The rebuilding process has begun, both physically, as you see here, and emotionally, as these people that we've seen here today and have talked to today have shared with us. You guys have done a terrific job here, and all the small acts of kindness and heroism that's taken place in every little corner of this city. I can only believe that this town is coming back stronger than ever.
Our community has really come together to help fit the needs for those affected by the tornado.
We have so many wonderful things that have been given to us, which is just a testament to the community of Marshalltown to rally around. I mean, we're one camp, but to see the support has been absolutely unbelievable.
I look so forward to coming back to some of the grand openings that will be taking place here and spending those smiling, happy times with the people of this town.
Despite all of the physical damage, no lives were lost that day because the community was ready and they had a plan. Marshalltown wasn't broken on July 19th. It was strengthened and united. Many people found their inner hero that day, and it's the resilient spirit that will lead Marshalltown to an even better tomorrow.
Wildfires are one of the most feared natural disasters on the planet, and rightfully so. They can move erratically and at a screaming pace, so it's no wonder it could be easy to be caught off guard, caught up, and in need of rescue. Fortunately, that rescue can come from above.
50 miles north of San Francisco is Napa, California. The scenic area is known for its stunning landscapes and impressive vacation homes. But on October 8th, 2017, the neighborhood on a mountain called Atlas Peak became famous for something else.
It was Sunday. Started out as a beautiful day. It's a little bit breezy. Reported at 1800. I was partnered with Officer Whitney Lowe.
We were getting bounced around so much by the significant winds. That was the most turbulence that I had been in 6 years of flying here in the Bay Area, and it just didn't make sense to keep flying in that bad of winds without a call. And so we headed back towards the Napa airport.
Then about 9:45-ish, there was the initial call for a structure fire just north of us in Atlas Peak.
As officers Gavitt and Lowe were flying back to Napa, they got a radio call from another CHP pilot, Jan Sears.
Jan told us over our in-house air-to-air frequency, hey, you guys should start up here. This is turning into a big deal.
Once the fire started, the combination of dry air, high winds, and miles of wooded hills produced an unstoppable blaze that was incinerating everything in its path.
Davidson, I'm being advised that the expo is open for evacuees. They'll hold up to 1,000 people, and they can open up another that can hold 200 if needed.
Philip Dahan and his wife, Linda Savoie, were at their home in Atlas when the fire broke out.
I went to the window and I just saw this huge orange glow. I could see helicopters hovering with their loudspeakers and telling us, evacuate, evacuate.
They immediately headed down the hill, but soon they faced a terrifying predicament. Downed power lines and flaming trees blocked the only road out.
There's just no way.
Not only were they trapped on the mountain, but there was no way for fire trucks to get in. they would need some other way out.
One of the nice things about helicopters is that we can usually land most places that are inaccessible otherwise.
Officers Gavitt and Lowe began performing emergency air evacuations, but they could only carry out 4 passengers at a time.
I said, we're on the deck of the Titanic here. Get anybody you can. Get anybody with a helicopter and get them up here.
At that point, the fire was almost making a complete 360 around us.
And so it became very apparent to us that there was no way off this mountain and that it was just a matter of time.
I'm like, we're gonna die. We're gonna die. Like, this is it.
However, a beacon of hope was on the way.
I see these little lights. I'm like, what is that? And I see it's a helicopter and it's landing.
At long last, Philip and Linda had a way out. However, their nightmare wasn't over yet because the turbulence made the flight a life-threatening ordeal.
Pete kept us in the air, which was no small feat that night.
It wasn't pleasant flying at all. Just huge updrafts, downdrafts.
Anytime I would peek, it would just make me freak out just to see all those flames everywhere.
They were so calm about it. And all of that, I just assumed was routine. Didn't realize that this was quite an experience for them as well.
Strongest, worst conditions, I've ever been in.
14 harrowing minutes later, the helicopter landed at the nearby Queen of the Valley Hospital.
Landed safely, got out, and I wanted to kiss the ground. Instead of kissing the ground, I hugged Whitney instead. Those men are incredible for what they did that night.
They risk it all. Whitney has 5 kids, and Pete has 2, and they're both happily married. They have reasons to celebrate life, and here they were, prepared to give it all up for strangers like us.
Nestled in the northeast corner of Oklahoma, Tulsa doesn't get as many tornadoes as you might think. It's surprising because Oklahoma overall is the state that ranks 3rd for the most twisters each year. So on a seemingly normal summer night, many were stunned when an EF2 tornado emerged out of the darkness and struck right in the heart of downtown.
Situated on the Arkansas River, Tulsa is the 2nd largest city in Oklahoma. Although it's a major metropolitan area, it still retains a small-town feel. But as it turns out, the night of August 5th, 2017 would not be as peaceful. As the sun set that evening, Celia Daniel took the opportunity to meet up with a few friends. On this night, she also brought along her 9-year-old son.
It started raining, and we all decided to go to a restaurant. I had my middle boy with me. There was probably about 10 of us there.
But this was no passing storm. This was a tornado that spun up quickly before the warnings could come out.
There was no advance warning. And earlier in the day, when they said there might be a thunderstorm, nobody was talking about the potential or possibility of a tornado.
Unaware of the looming danger, Celia and her group enjoyed a late-night dinner while they waited out the storm.
We were all checking out, fixing to get ready to leave. Well, when I turned around, it was pouring down rain.
Oh my goodness.
Everyone just kind of starts to run. I grabbed my son and wrapped my body around him, and then you couldn't see nothing. Everything just went pitch black.
The tornado smashed through the walls of the restaurant where Celia and her son were sitting at their booth.
And then just not even seconds later, something came through the window and hit me in the back of the head and launched me and my son across the restaurant.
Celia needed urgent medical attention. Luckily, the firemen of Station 25 were ready and on their way. But Celia was losing consciousness fast.
I didn't even realize how badly I was injured or anything like that. The only thing I cared about was getting my son to safety.
She was a load and go. We got her loaded up and she was on her way to the hospital.
I think that total spent like 15 hours in surgery. I remember the doctor coming in and telling me, "You're lucky you're not paralyzed or even dead."
Celia was indeed lucky to be alive, but still faced a long road to recovery.
I had to literally sit up for 3 months. Couldn't bend my legs, nothing like that. Couldn't even move.
Despite many difficulties, things are looking up for Celia and her family.
No matter how hard it is, you just Put a smile on your face and keep trying.
Months later, Celia had the chance to personally thank the men who saved her life.
Celia, right?
Yes, yes.
It's good to meet you.
Were you one of the firefighters?
Yes. Me and Travis were the ones that you initially saw first that opened the door.
I owe you guys everything. Like, I wouldn't be here today and be here for my boys if it wasn't for you guys. My son did this for you guys, and then he signed this.
Okay. And I just want to let you know how much I appreciate you for saving me and my mom. Well, that's great. I'll tell him thank you very much.
I've been wanting to see him for a long time now and shake their hand and tell them how good of a job they did.
It was very good to meet you.
It was nice meeting you too.
Hurricane Florence is one of the most destructive storms in recent history, submerging parts of North Carolina in more rain than that state had ever seen from a tropical cyclone. Millions of Americans were impacted by those floods, and so many more were left without power. But as Hurricane Florence moved north, a new threat was lurking.
Founded more than 300 years ago as the first commercial producer of coal in the United States, Midlothian is an unincorporated suburb of Richmond, Virginia. Tammy Harrop and Jordan Crowder were both working at a local pizza parlor when they began to hear weather warnings.
The sky was dark. It was raining so hard.
We had gotten several alerts that day. They kept saying, danger, take shelter immediately. You're looking, nothing's happening. So at this point, I kind of wasn't paying attention to them anymore, to be honest with you.
As the winds outside were picking up, customers were getting nervous.
They walked out the front door, walked to the edge of the sidewalk, and they almost immediately came flying back in.
They said that they saw trash flying in the air. But then they took a second look, realized, oh, it's actually a tornado. And he started running to the bathroom, but I told him, you know, hey, we shouldn't go in the bathroom. That's not the safest place we could be. The back hallway is nothing but cement, so the safest place for us to be is in that cement hallway.
Moments later, a tornado ripped through the shopping center. The people in the pizza parlor took refuge in the hallway, hoping that would be enough to keep them safe.
And I was like screaming, like, hey, come on, this could get really bad. You could feel the whole building shaking, and I knew something was wrong at that moment in time. It was crazy. You could just feel how powerful it was.
Just like that, the lights went out, and then it just got quiet as a mouse. And you're just looking at each other like, what happened?
Once the tornado was a safe distance away, the employees and patrons of the shopping center emerged, slowly realizing what they had just survived.
All of our doors got ripped open.
There was cars that had been lifted and dropped, rooftop air conditioning units picked up and just thrown across the parking lot. Somebody has to go out and address these issues, and that's us.
First responders were on the scene immediately, securing the area and helping people get out.
Close it down and get out. Close it down and get out. They were here quick. They were very calm, controlled the situation. They handled the situation very well.
Following the tornado, shop owners were anxious to survey the damage.
We had very minimal damage. There was a little damage to some of the patio stuff outside. There was some roof damage. We had to replace air conditioner units.
The people of Midlothian saw firsthand the destructive power unleashed by the tornado. They also saw the dedication of the first responders who were called into action that day.
These people selflessly run in and put themselves in harm's way at our benefit.
I like brotherhood, and there's no greater brotherhood on the planet than the fire service.
Today, we've seen the incredible spirit of unsung heroes come shining through. In so many disasters, we learn about the victims, but we don't get to know the heroes. I am so grateful we got to celebrate the hero stories, and can't wait to do it again with all of you.